Hello Kindred Longevity Lifestyle Designers, this is Govern Your Secrets of Longevity.com. We're going to make a Chinese herb elixir of longevity today. A very general one, except that the rough theme is going to be around some of the best longevity promoting herbs out of China. There's going to be some other things, of course. There's some other herbs in some of these blends, and then we're using some superfoods from other locations. And also some of the macronutrients are going to be coming from more general foods. So we're going to start off with a large amount of this 4-berry frozen blend. Blueberries, raspberries, strawberries, and blackberries. You know, this is a 2-kilogram bag. I go through like one every day or two. Not actually. It's actually going through it quite quickly, but that's because it's just a great way to get tons of antioxidants and probably the ideal fruit to be consuming on a regular basis, in my opinion. So I think a good 2 cups of that. That's what I've been going through so far. I was having about that much every day. Next we're going to add a bit of coconut oil, and we're going to add the hot, it's actually cooled down quite a bit, but we're going to add warmish tea over top of it. And this oil is quite melted because it's getting warmer here. It's going to get harder from the frozen berries, but if we pour the tea over top of that coconut oil, it's going to help mix it in, because if you've ever made a really cold drink and added coconut oil, you'll probably notice that it gets quite chunky because it's, you know, a very solid oil at room temperature, usually at least. And getting that in there where the tea is going to go is going to help mix that in. So we made some gynostemma tea. Very easy, you just add a liter or more of water to a pot, bring it up to a boil, and just like any green leaf tea, the ideal way to steep it is to bring it up to the boil without the herbs, let it come off the boil for 2 to 3 minutes after you've shut the stove off, and once that's reached that temperature, that's around 95 degrees, that's where you're going to have the least amount of damage to the leaf, or actually extraction of tannins, which are really bitter in most leafy green teas, and a maximal extraction of the medicinal components. I'm going to fill it up to about the 3, maybe even go up to the 4 cup mark. Yeah, 4 is a good amount. Now to move on with the bulk of the drink and some of the superfood and medicinal components, we're going to add some lucuma, which adds a great creamy texture. It adds a bit of sweetness without it being too high glycemic. It's basically a powdered fruit, the egg fruit, from the South American region. I mean, it's rich in B vitamins, and there's nothing super specific about its benefits. It's just great tasting and a great addition to this type of drink. We're also going to add some cacao powder, of course, because berries go so well with chocolate. And we put 2 tablespoons of the lucuma, so we're going to do about 1.5 tablespoons of cacao. Now, cacao also enhances the absorption of other herbs, so it's going to be a great adjunct to these other herbs we're going to add. And to start that off, we're going to add some of the goji berry powder extract, which you've seen me use in a previous video. This is from longevitypower.com. And by the way, many of these ingredients are in the links below if you want to check those out and order through the links I provide. It helps me out and continue to put out these good videos and giving you this great information. So that's about 1.5 teaspoons. Of course, goji berries goes with the other berries. And it is one of the most profound longevity tonic herbs. From its immunological stimulating properties to its liver cleansing properties, to its blood building properties, to its hormonal building properties with its ability to increase the body's own production of human growth hormone. Next we're going to add a blend which is also from Longevity Power. And this is called Longevity in a Bottle. I wish I had a larger bottle of this because it's unbelievable what's packed in here. There's a ton of mushroom extracts as well as a wide range of Chinese herbs, some North American herbs, some Indian herbs. I mean, there's a 24 tonic herb blend, and then on top of that is the mushroom blend. And they have a separate mushroom blend as well they just came out with. I'm going to try that next, I think. But in total, it's 60 different herbs, and it's a great blend. It tastes good. And if you don't want to bother with too much of a hassle of combining all these small packets individually, this is a great way to go just to ensure that you're getting a wide range of stuff in there. And because it's such a small amount of all the various herbs all mixed together, I'm adding about 1 tablespoon total of this extract. It actually tastes really good too, surprisingly. Yeah, there's not many combined extracts, especially when they incorporate Chinese herbs, that actually taste good. And even though both of these next herbs we're going to be adding is in the longevity blend, we're going to add these separately in a larger quantity just to give emphasis to them because they're so longevity promoting. One is Hushu, my all-time favorite herb, as you guys know. About 1 teaspoon of that, or half a teaspoon. And that's really rich in zinc. Helps promote the body's own production of superoxide dismutase, the #1 most important antioxidant your body makes. And I could go on and on about that all day, but of course, the other thing we're going to add is cordyceps. This is a yin and yang gin tonic, whereas Kushu is primarily a yin gin tonic. And this is very strong tasting, so I'm going to add probably a little less than a half teaspoon, or maybe like a quarter teaspoon. We'll add a bit more. Hopefully it gets blended in there nicely and masked, because I find the cordyceps quite strong tasting and not the most pleasant flavor. But when it's a chocolate-based sort of coffee-esque type drink, as we're doing here, it's mixed in there quite well, and you don't taste it as you might with some other type of blend. One other thing we're going to add in here is some pine pollen powder, because it's the season here and it's just great stuff. I'm going to add about 2 teaspoons worth. Don't want to go too high on that, or it might be a bit too stimulating in its yang jing properties. And of course, it's well known for its testosterone boosting effects, and can be used like a food in and of itself, because it's such a complete source of a wide range of proteins, fatty acids, and vitamins and minerals. We're going to sweeten this up with some maple syrup and stevia combined. So maybe a tablespoon total of maple syrup. I'm trying to keep it wild. I prefer maple syrup these days over honey and things like that. I'm going to add our stevia. If you didn't know, it is a no glycemic sweetener. It just has that sweet taste on the palate, very safe to use, despite mainstream media's type of portrayal of it, or mainstream health's portrayal of it. Just a small amount. I don't recommend doing large amounts of it daily for long periods of time, because it does have some testosterone lowering effects. But when consuming such small amounts sparsely, it's pretty reasonable to use. One of the last things we're adding here is a bit of sea salt, just to bring up the flavors and get the adrenal balancing effects that salt is so well known for. If you've been sitting on the fence on salt for a long time, or you just don't understand it or why it would be necessary to consume, check out this video here, which I've done in the not too distant past, on the health benefits of salt and why it's pretty necessary for most people. It lowers a lot of important stress hormones that we want to keep in control. So we're going to add an egg to this as well, but we're going to do that after we blend in most of this, just so we don't over blend the egg, because then it gets too frothy, I find. And of course, that's totally optional, as any ingredients are here. This is just to give you guys a rough outline or guideline as to what you can do in your own kitchen. And one other thing I'm going to add, actually, that I just saw when I opened the fridge, is some yogurt. So yogurt combined with the egg and coconut oil makes this a lot more satiating. And again, these are just optional ingredients, but I also like the combination of the yogurt flavor with the berries and the chocolate. It's pretty classic when you're talking about smoothies. Now, this is pasteurized yogurt, but it is grass-fed, organic, and unhomogenized, which are the 3 more important things that you need to take into consideration before consuming a dairy product. Unpasteurized and raw is great, but it's not necessarily available to everyone. But the most important things, like I said, are grass-fed, organic, and unhomogenized. So you saw me stirring it up there because there was a layer of fat at the top, and that's generally how you know it's unhomogenized. So we added about half a cup of yogurt, and we're going to add 1 egg. And these are, of course, pastured organic eggs. Nice yellow orange yolks. That just gets a bit more protein in there, as well as the fat and good nutrients that we find in the egg yolk. So we want to give that one more blend, of course. Wow, look at that color. Smells good. Now that is a thick smoothie / elixir. And it tastes great. Funny enough, I do taste the cordyceps, but it's very subtle. You can always skip that ingredient if you don't want to have that flavor in there. But it is an incredible herb, just as all the other ones in here. So as always, check out the links below if you want to get a source for any of these ingredients. These are all companies I recommend and purchase from regularly. And like, favorite, and share the video if you feel so inclined as well. And of course, with that, I'll talk to you next time. Take care and embrace life without limits.